Excuse me. Okay, so I'm gonna make a corporate video. You know, a lot of these videos I do, they be on the police, but people think that I have stuff against the police, and I do not. I look at the police as human beings, So with that being said, they are 1000% capable of making mistakes and doing stuff that is not representing what the badge stands for. So that's a proven fact solely because they're humans. No one's perfect. We're going to get on the corporate today. So, I face a lot of problems in the corporate world. Now, let me explain to you guys. Y'all would think, oh, I made wrong decisions or I'm a bad person. No, I made a lot of the right decisions. So that's something that's a whole nother conversation. But don't get it misconstrued because I've never been to jail. I don't have any tattoos. I don't have a child support order or anything. I was married when I had my child. I've been married and divorced, and I've never had a domestic violence charge or no charges ever put on me. I'm not talking about charges as far as female. I'm just saying no charges, no drugs. I don't do drugs or anything. I have my diploma. Um, so don't get it misconstrued about me conducting business. I've always worked too. So I've been working since I was like 14. My first job, I was a bagger at the shop, right? You know. So let's get started on why I started receiving corporate problems. I don't know if this was 2019 or 2020, but I was unemployed. I always look for jobs, so generally I don't do unemployment. So I always have work. I'm always working. I've even been a supervisor at Amazon, an admin HR IT coach. So that's a whole nother story. So Amazon has to do with this story. So that's why I said that. But I was unemployed. So I'm in Maryland and, I went to this temp agency and they sent me to this job and the job was terrible. No one was attentive. It was shit everywhere. They didn't properly train me, and they had like bulk shit, and they didn't have no laser locks or anything. They had like bulk shit in the air. Like they wanted you to go up on a order selector, a cherry picker, and pull trampolines and couches with refrigerators and shit, and it was just so dangerous. It was the company. I ain't gonna name the company because I'm dealing with some shit right now, so we not gonna get into the company. But the company was a bulk warehouse, right? And so they only sold heavy shit. They was not training, so I didn't get no training, even though I knew how to use an order selector or anything like that. Majority the company was new in that area, so 90% of the people that worked there, uh, they would clock in and then they would leave and then they would literally come back and clock out. Like this is how they were getting paid. And there was one guy there, he was like a supervisor on another shift, and he whooped somebody, he beat on somebody. They didn't even fire him because his family was head of in the company in another branch. They didn't even fire him for whooping on the guy. They just put him on another shift, put him on my shift, which was the day shift. This man showed me $20,000 in a Rolex. So I was like, a Rolex with diamonds on it. I bit the Rolex with my mouth, no homo. So I knew the shit was real. And yo, I just was like, wow, this is the worst place. I could die here. It was so much stuff all around, I couldn't even move the forklift. So I had quit the job. And when I quit the job, my unemployment, that was 3 days. So within a 2 week span of me starting one day and then starting at the end of the week and then going back for 2 more days, I was supposed to go one day, I didn't go. And every time I went there, no one was really attentive. They didn't even know that I was showing up. And one day I popped up and the guys was like, yeah, Vaughn, let's get started. And I was like, really? Like, let's get started. Like, who are you? So it was some of the most unprofessional shit I've seen in my life. So I quit. I had told the temp agency, so don't get it misconstrued. I have the texts to the temp. I have the emails, everything, right? So this stuff really went to go down because I told the temp agency, man, that place is unsafe. Nah, I'm not working there. I don't care about the money. I value my life. And so my unemployment called me, a woman named Kim Rogers, right? And she said, hey, what happened with the job? I was like, man, I quit that job because it was unsafe. And she was like, oh, you can't quit. We denying your unemployment. And so I was like, damn, that's messed up, man. Like, I was thinking about my life. I wasn't saying that to her. I'm saying that in my head. Like, this is crazy, crazy, right? Like, these people literally want you to die. And so I wrote a letter, right? I called the temp agency, and the temp agency tried to say, we don't care if you work 3 days. If you work 2 hours, we could claim you on the taxes. Because they the reason why I got my unemployment took it out, because they reported me. And because of the letter I wrote about the safety. So, okay, I'll write some real letter. Because of the text message I wrote, I'll write some real letter. And from me writing that letter, they shut down the company. Not the temp. It was like 3 or 4 temp agencies in that company. This was a big ass company, right? They didn't call me. They didn't tell me, hey man, we looked into what you were saying. And because here's the thing, I went to the temp agency and they tried to play with me, so I called the police. I showed the police the text messages and everything from when I had already warned them about the company. I wasn't even paying attention when the cops said, damn, if this is true, man, this shit need to be looked into, because I had said something to the temp agency like, yo, find me another job. I told them what the problem was. You know how Martin said, what the problem is, I told them what the problem was. So on that notion, I did not know. So come to find out, the product that was in that warehouse was owned by Amazon. Amazon had to open up their own store because I guess that company was a subsidiary, and I had no idea. I had no idea that there was repercussions or anything, right? I thought like, oh, I just lost my job. I had to go look for another job. Through that process, like that whole city was against me because I guess it stopped a lot of jobs, a lot of temp agencies. That's when they totaled out my Subaru. I got the videos for that. I'm gonna show them too pretty soon. So I'm not knowing. I go to Amazon to work again. Now, Amazon, I've worked there in 15 years. I worked there like for 8 years, off and on. So I go back. Why was Amazon waiting for me this whole time? I did not know what was going on. So they had did some horrific things, let me tell you. They did some horrific things. They intentionally gave me food poisoning, right? I have all the, proof. And so I was throwing up, violently vomiting for a week straight. They would do so much stuff that was, I have already explained all that, but they did so much stuff. It was terrible. So I went into Delaware and I filled out a discrimination claim because this was in Delaware and Middletown branch. I filled out a discrimination claim. And from me filling out that claim, Delaware didn't give a fuck. They denied me. Whatever, okay. Nah, I mean, they just waved it off. Even the payment type shit, them owing me money, they waved it off. So I'm like, all right, solid. So what I didn't know was that, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission had got word. So they was getting ready to send me letters for me to sue Amazon. And Amazon knew this. So I was still out of work. I'm looking for a job. I always work. So Amazon knew this. So Amazon had another company hire me, right? Peep out this shit. So I'm working with Texan engineers, and they doing remans on iPhones, Samsungs, and we were doing QR battery testings and blink modules and fire sticks and stuff like that. And that company, that we spearheaded that division for those positions for Amazon. Now I'm thinking I'm working for CTDI. And this is at the main branch. This at the corporate branch. This is where they fucking work on heart machines and shit like that. And man, come to find out, Amazon knew that that letter was coming out, and they was giving me a time period from the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission was giving me a time period for me to sue. And so Amazon hired me for that time period. Meanwhile, they were distracting me before I had got that job. It was hard to sue because Amazon was sending me threats, having lawyers call me. They would have send packets out with classified information stating what they was going to do and the repercussions that were going to come to me. They were very aggressive, not mentioning what they were saying to other companies. So they were paying other companies to literally shit on me, and this is still happening to this day. So one day, this is before I get the job at CTDI. One day, I'm at the Wawa. I'm down Middletown. This is where initially Amazon pooped on me. I'm at Middletown, no Dubai. They shitted on me, what I'm trying to say. And I'm pumping my gas. And then this man just walks up to me, a Freemason, right? He was one of the oldest men to become a Freemason. He didn't come a Mason earlier in his life. He became a Mason when he was older. And he was a lawyer. And he was just telling me about his life and telling me stories. And, he gave me a book. He said, man, Vaughn, that book is worth like $7, $8 online. That's my book. I wrote it. But, when I die, they're trying to do a movie on my life. When I die, man, that book gonna be worth some money, man. I'm gonna sign it for you. And you got something else, I'm gonna give you my information. So he signed his own book and gave it to me. And he signed his art book, my art book. I had an art book in the car. So he signed my art book. And he said to me, Vaughn, you're not going to be able to stop racism. He didn't understand. I don't give a fuck about racism. He told me all types of stuff. He told me about Trump while we were talking. And he told me that Trump wasn't going to get charged with none of it. He's a lawyer. So he was a lawyer from New York. And he told me about, Trump wasn't going to get charged with stuff and all types. And I'm like, wow, they really on my heels because it's nowhere I could go. Like, I'm trying to pump my gas and then a Mason just pops out of nowhere and while I'm pumping my gas. And he stated that he gave me the book because I didn't have to listen. But, you know, I looked at it as you didn't have to stop me, you know? You stopped me to give me insight, and the conversation was he knew who I was. So back to me working at CTDI. CTDI did some super foul shit. Now, all these companies that are doing these things against me, they have no record of me doing anything, being disrespectful, and I'm doing record shit at all these companies. I'm doing record shit. I come in every day. I never miss a day, and I'm there an hour early. All the companies will tell you, Vaughn will be here an hour early. So that's my Bluetooth. So, okay. Now guess what? CTDI, once the lawsuit was up, you know, they were like, Amazon, they just fired me. No reason or anything. It was on St. Patrick's Day, 2023. They fired me, right? And this wasn't at Amazon. I was supposed to be working for CTDI, but the branch they had me in was Amazon, but I needed the money. I was making like $700 and something dollars a week, right? We wasn't doing no physical work, you know, and I started that side of the company. I put all the computers together and stuff. They had to wait for the engineers and shit to run the wires and shit. But I put the computers together. I did the whole setup for that department, right? So I'm like, damn, they fired me. So I go to file for unemployment in Delaware. And Delaware denied me. Oh, no, you're not getting no unemployment. So I had to go through 4 appeals, right? On the 4th appeal, they pissed me off. So I sent them all the information. Like I be telling y'all, I got information on all types of stuff. No Diddy. So I sent them the information of the stuff that happened, how my stuff got, how this started, how I sent them doctors' letters contesting Amazon, making me sick, getting me sick. I sent them all types of stuff. I sent them what was happening at CTDI. So then they were ignorant enough. This is the Delaware Department of Labor. They got mad at me too. They called the police on me, had me escorted out because I went to get information on my case. I went there to get information, and then they called the police on me. I got that video. Yo. So then they did all that and they denied me. Once I sent all this proof, equal employment letters to sue and all that, these ignorant motherfuckers, they say, oh, we're sorry. Here's some unemployment money from months past. And they didn't give me no money. The money from me having to pay my bills, shit. The money didn't last 48 hours. I was back broke again. So then they send me emails. Vaughn, you need to file for discrimination. You need to sue. Fill out this paperwork. That's what Delaware is saying. I have the emails. I said to the man, look, man, I did that shit in the beginning. It's now it ain't just that. I'm being discriminated on. You guys is the problem too, because you guys are working with these companies. All types of stuff is happening to employees, and y'all not recognizing shit. I want to sue you guys. I want to sue you. I want to sue them. You know, the police is on me doing illegal shit. The Department of Justice, the state of Delaware, Maryland, these corporate companies, and y'all backing this shit. And then when I present some more evidence, you tell me to do something that I already did when I filled out the paperwork properly. You guys denied it. Now you telling me to fill it out again? And then I had to go, they paid me wages from the time when Amazon owed me money. So still to this day, that was 2023, August 2023 type shit. Still to this day, I am receiving backlash anywhere I go, any company I work for. I've never done nothing to these people. My last job, a man jumped out, punched me, took my electric jack, threatened me. People running up on me. My stuff was getting stolen. Errors were being planted on me, lying, writing me up for wrong stuff. I had to call the Attorney General's office. I had to call, I was being threatened to be robbed, to be kidnapped. I had to call the FBI. I had to call the OST department. So y'all be on this outside world sending me these death threats, sending me these subliminal messages, saying that it's me, saying that I did all these crimes, when in reality, I'm just being myself. I ain't do nothing to no one. Now, if it came to the police, they can't say one illegal thing that I did. They won't come out and say, oh, he's a criminal, he's a drug dealer, he's a any of these things. They can't say that I did anything. So that's why I'm so confused, because this ain't about money. This is about my rights, my constitutional rights. Like, I need to be compensated for my life being ruined, for y'all setting me up 1,000 times. I coincide with all the rules and the laws, and I'm being shunned for it. And then y'all had these people talking about, oh, y'all rectifying this, y'all bullshit, man. This world, man, I'm still receiving backlash. Still to this day, I'm still being denied, and I never asked for a handout. I am a taxpayer. I am a law-abiding citizen. I have all my credentials. Federal, real license, ID, everything. I'm confused.